Hey everybody, welcome to Zenny 62 show. I'm really excited about because this is going to be the second live stream, but my first with my
This is
friend
going to be the second
and
live stream,
buddy
but my
AP
first with
Steadham,
my
who
friend.
uh, which is actually going to go once it's done to, that's right, Oakland News Now and become a news story that you can find if you just search Terrell Owens NFL Hall of Fame in news after this is over, maybe about another hour or something like that. But at any rate, but I digress. I have with me veteran NFL reporter. In fact, it says so in the description. This is the description I wrote for you, AP. It goes basically like this. It says veteran NFL reporter AP Steadham stops by Zenny 62 to talk NFL Hall of his visit to the NFL Hall of Fame, Terrell Owens, and Alabama football in that order. How you doing, my man?
Hey, great, Vinny. I'm always glad to be on this show. Thank you for having
Oh,
me.
I'm blessed to have you. Hey, tell my viewers, because I know we're talking about it off camera. I have never been to. Oh, hey Barry Lee. Hey Rob Iman. Say hello to AP. These are the folks that are in my stream. But AP, I've never been in the NFL Hall of Fame. That's a crime, don't you think? Lock me up.
Yeah, it's very surprising, Vinny, because you've been in so many NFL drafts and covered the NFL for a number of years. I am astonished that you haven't been to Canton, Ohio.
Yeah, the cradle of pro football. I mean, the place where I want to go on a rant here. I get a chance to test out all my new stupid football theories, but all that aside, you were there. How many times have you been to the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Well, this is my second time, Vinny. I was there 2 years ago for the Kenny Stabler induction,
Oh yeah.
and that was a fabulous moment because I made a vow that I would not go to the Hall of Fame until Kenny was inducted. So I got the full treatment. So it was a fantastic weekend being there for Kenny's induction, but it was also bittersweet because he was inducted posthumously.
And you still keep in touch with the NFL? Excuse me, the Kenny Stabler people, with your family?
Absolutely. I was there on Saturday. This is my second time. Of course, I was there on Tuesday because the game was on Thursday. Baltimore versus Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore had Ray Lewis being inducted and Brian Urlacher from Chicago. And this was also the first time Baltimore Ravens had played in the Hall of Fame game. So I was there on Tuesday. But yeah, I actually was at the Robert Brazil party with Alexis Stabler Adams. And she is the middle daughter of Kenny Stabler.
How's
And
she?
she's an agent, and she became an agent in October.
Wow, she's an NFL agent. Good for her.
NFL agent, yes.
Wow.
Yes, she represents 5 or 6 players. Most notably, I think, is the University of Alabama punter, J.K. Scott, who was drafted by Green Bay.
What prompted her to make that move? I mean, any idea?
Her motivation was to see football players begin to think about their future after they stopped playing the game, and she wanted them to have a bright, new beginning once they finished playing football.
Wow, good for her. Hey, becoming an NFL agent is no easy do. I helped. I'm not going to say his name on the air. He's a NFL exec now, but I tried to help him become an NFL agent by his request, and he got there. But it's one thing to get certified and get your paperwork, but then to get clients, that's a tall order. It really is. Congratulations to her. Hey, so
Yeah,
what did you?
yeah. Like I say, five or six at this point. Man.
That's pretty good, because he had none. Hey, so I'm curious. Did you have a chance to see the Hall of Fame game?
I did. I went on Thursday. I was there. I wanted to see Alabama's got about 5 players with Baltimore and 2 with Chicago. And at the beginning of the second half, I tweeted out that there's an Alabama Louisville connection because rookie center Bradley Bozeman snapped the ball to rookie quarterback Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
And Alabama plays Louisville in the very first game in Orlando, Florida, September 1st,
Hey,
8
good.
o'clock Eastern Time.
And that's a perfect lead into my question. What did you think of Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, he has to be polished, I believe, because the NFL game is very fast. I think he probably is going to work on his release and then reading the defenses quicker. But, that was his very first snap. I was fortunate to be there and he's definitely quick. But Zenny, the NFL players are so fast. Even if you have exceptional ability to be elusive in college, you can't make a living running around the NFL.
No, he's
as
not
a quarterback.
I think that became quite evident, but I don't know about you, but I was just impressed with his poise under center. He looked like he'd been there before from the perspective of taking a snap, leading the team. He didn't look scared. He didn't have the deer in the headlights. You know what I mean? I thought he did well.
Yeah, no, he showed some poise in the pocket, and he ran out a few times. But I think that he's going to have a chance to develop.
Hey, what's the experience like to be there among all that history? Players, you know? What's that like?
Well, yeah, it's really amazing, Zenny, when you see the introduction. They have the gold jacket dinner on Friday evening.
Oh, you went to that?
And
you went to that?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
yeah, tell me about it, man. Oh, tell us. That was, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so,
wow.
So what I did was I placed myself in the lobby where everyone was in line. So I saw each and every gold jacket member enter the arena. So that was a lot of fun, just one by one. You see Joe Namath walk by, and I saw, the Alabama players, Dwight Stevenson and Ozzie Newsome and John Hanna. And then you have
the great John Hanna with the New England Patriots.
Yeah, and he was telling a funny story to Franco Harris. It was really cool to watch them interact. All these former players, now they're in their own fraternity. So they're part of that team. And it's really cool to be there and talk to them and just see what stories they might want to tell that day or that evening. That's fun.
Do you have a favorite player that you enjoyed seeing during the time that you were there? I know you didn't make it to the speeches, but you went to some parties, went to the Brazil party, right?
Robert. Yeah. I saw Robert's speech. I was there for the speeches on Saturday. That was well. They had the speech. Robert spoke as well for the Gold Jacket dinner. The coolest thing about Robert Brazil from Mobile, Alabama, Viger High School, Jackson State University, entering the Pro Football Hall of Fame, was his dad was there to be his presenter. So he was on the stage on Friday putting the jacket on his son. That's quite remarkable. And his mother was there as well. So I think there's nothing cooler than having your dad there to induct you.
No, and I think the only thing that might be close to that is watching it with your mom. We were watching it here, and there were a couple of times we cried. I just have to be honest with you because, when we strip away the glitz and the glamour and the money, it's about people who are from humble means, particularly African American, who have really went through a lot, and it's fantastic to see and hear these stories of arrival. You know what I mean? And then be able to look back on the hard times and laugh at those points in that journey to where they got to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Robert, he waited 34 years, to be inducted because he played 10 years, 75 to 84. His team, some of his teammates at Jackson State, Walter Payton, his very good friend, Jackie Slater, Ricky Young, the running back played for Minnesota and San Diego, Leon Gray, and there's one other person. His name escapes me, but that's quite a talent.
Yeah.
Coming out of Jackson State University.
It's quite a haul. What are your thoughts? Did anyone talk about? First of all, what was the party like? What was it like to be in that room with Brazil?
Yeah, the Houston Owners, as some people may recall, they moved to become the Tennessee Titans. So Robert really has been without a team for a while. So bringing back all those former Houston Owners, Alvin Bethea in the Hall of Fame, Curly Coe, so Vernon Perry was there, Billy White, Hughes Johnson. They were all at the party. So when Robert entered the room, which is at a country club, Glenmore Country Club in Canton, Ohio, very, very beautiful place, they played the Houston Love You Blue song. It was really cool. Everybody sang. It was at the party, probably about 200 people. And that was through the generosity of the Tennessee Titans football team organization. Bud Adams' daughter, Amy, she was there hosting the event. She was so pleasant, so nice. I mean, I was there a little bit early. She came over, we spoke, and then we spoke a little bit afterwards on a few subjects. So it had the music, and it was a really fun atmosphere. And like I say, the place was gorgeous inside. They had that country club, and they had good food and good music. And just Robert, he had a big smile on his face. And LT came to the party. And I'm trying to think who else is there. Oh yeah, Bruce Matthews, former Oiler. Bruce Matthews was there.
Bruce Matthews, who happens to be the Matthews family, right? With Clay Matthews.
Correct. That's right. That's right. Yeah, the three generations. Their dad played, and then the grandson, right? Grandson or grandsons. I can't remember how many play now, but they played as well. So that's 3 generations. That's really neat.
Wow. Hey, so were they all there? Were all the brothers there?
I just saw Bruce, as far as I know.
Wow, that's worldy right there. That's something else. Who else was in the room? You have the NFL Network guys, like Marshall Faulk and those guys, right?
Yeah, they were there. Michael Irvin was there.
Irvin, yeah.
Trying to think who else I saw running around.
What's his name? That was the quarterback for the Rams.
Kurt Warner, right?
Kurt Warner. Yeah, Kurt Warner was in the house.
Yeah, I saw Kurt Warner in the media room. Sure did.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. I met him a couple of times, and wow, that's something else. That's goosebumps. In fact, the only person that wasn't there was Terrell Owens. What do you think about Terrell not having made the decision to have his ceremony at Tennessee Chattanoga, his alma mater, rather than be with all the gang?
Right. I'll just preface my remarks before I comment about this. Was the end of April. He was inducted into the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame in Birmingham, and so I was there to interview him at the media luncheon. He was very pleasant, gave thoughtful answers. He gave a speech on Saturday evening. It took him maybe 15 or 20 seconds to approach the microphone because he was overwhelmed. Because the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame, I mean, it's Carl Lewis, Hank Aaron, Satchel Paige, Willie Mays, Kenny Stabler, Joe Namath, Bart Starr.
Oh.
I mean, Joe Lewis, Coach Bryant, Sugar Jordan of Auburn, Bo Jackson. I mean, they have quite a Hall of Fame themselves. So I was really surprised when he declined the invitation, and I did not hear all the comments. I just heard the fact that he made mention that it was not because he was inducted on what second or third year he was eligible, something of that nature. It wasn't the first ballot.
Yeah, let's. I'm gonna play those comments for you real quick, folks. Here's Terrell Owens. I'm not gonna show him for copyright reasons, but I am gonna play the audio.
My character has been heavily challenged and questioned for many years, but today I stand here to put truth to power, or power to truth. So I want to address the elephant in the room. Many of you may be wondering why we're here instead of Canton. There's been a lot of speculation and false reports as to why I chose not to be there. I would like to set the record straight. It's not because how many times it took for me to be voted into the hall. It's about the mere fact that the sports writers are not in alignment with the mission and core values of the Hall of Fame. These writers disregarded the system, the criteria, and bylaws in which guys are inducted, and ultimately the true meaning of the Hall of Fame and what it represents. I wanted to take a stand so the next guy coming after me will not have to go through what I and others have gone through. Whether it's 3 years or 45 years, you should get what you rightfully earned. It's not always a popular stance to go against the grain. However, in my heart, I know this is the right thing to do. They say that I'm making the wrong decision, but sometimes you got to do what is deemed wrong or the wrong thing for the right reason. To do what I'm doing today, I'm reminded from the Bible, Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 6. It represents me well. It says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you." I greatly appreciate those that understand and support my decision. I hope it creates a dialogue that leads to change. I am here in Chattanooga with all of you because this is where it all started. And little did I know that this is where I will close this chapter. Love you too. But I love me more.
Well,
to the critics and doubters, those individuals who have smiled in my face but defamed me behind my back, you know who you are. This is for you. I have a lot of thank yous, so I'm gonna start to my supporters and my many fans across the world.
well, I'm gonna stop it right there because he does have a lot of thanks, but he gets it out of the way right up front. What are your thoughts on what you just heard?
Yeah, I think he'll live to regret not showing up there to greet all the other Hall of Famers. I mean, think about this, Cindy. You know, Earl Campbell is in a walker. You know, all these players are getting older, so he missed that opportunity to talk with them all weekend, be with their families, have his family mingle with all the other players that are in the Hall of Fame. I mean, that's it. You can't create that moment ever again. You know, because that's a special fraternity. So you have an objection, fine. Come to the Hall of Fame and speak to the voters who are there. Some of the voters are there, actually, if that's the protest that you would like to make. But this is a subjective system. You know, there is a criteria, but once again, when you submit your votes, then you don't have to give an essay. It's yes or no.
Hey, AP, what about the take that Terrell offered with respect to the sports writers? And I ask because I know a number of the writers that are in that room. Are you in that room? You're in that room too, right?
No. Okay. There's 48 voters, 32, one for each NFL city, and then 16 at large. 16 at large.
Hey, could you repeat that one more time? Because your voice, went in and out for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah, say that one more time.
Okay. Yes, 32 cities are representative. Representatives from 32 cities in the NFL have a vote, and then you have 16 that are at large. So that's 48 total.
Okay, and they're all sports writers represent those cities.
The sports writers do, yeah. Then I think they have a player or two on there now.
Yeah, I remember that. And there's people like, I know there's Ira Kaufman is on it, right? And then
right, at large.
Right, he's at large. And then Clark Judge is on it. Is he at large too?
Yeah, Clark's an at-large person, I believe.
Yeah, I know those two. They're probably, I think John McClain is on it, who I know from Houston, the Houston Chronicle.
Yes.
Is Jared Bell on it from USA Today? Anyway, but my point is that, what do you think of Terrell Owens' point that, hey, basically the sports writers didn't follow procedure and they didn't put him in on the first. What he's trying to say is, hey, look, he should have been on the first ballot, but would it been, given his history, would it have been any different had it been players?
Well, I would say that I think some of the writers, their objection to Terrell Owens was he was not a good teammate.
Mm-hmm.
He compiled a lot of numbers, but he was in one Super Bowl, and I mean that's there are plenty of people who didn't make a Super Bowl that are in the Hall of Fame, of course. But I think that they saw in a flaw in his character was when they went around the league and spoke to people, they found out that some of his teammates did not believe in him as being, a good teammate.
So basically, they were arguably, they were echoing, they being the sports writers in that room, they were echoing what teammates had said to them about him.
Right. I mean, I don't think they have a reason to make something up about an individual because they're trying to find out. And I mean, it's a very difficult to vote in that system because they're probably around 50 or 60 players behind. And when he said it was not because of the first ballot situation, but I mean, he was whining. They were, you find guys whining about it. And Jerry Kramer waited 50 years, right? Brazil 34.
Yeah, and Jerry Kramer was the executor, if I'm not mistaken, of the block on Jethro Pugh that mowed down the Dallas Cowboys line to put Bart Starr in the end zone to end the ice ball. And he had to wait,
correct, 50 years.
Yeah.
And you can check this out, Denny. He might be on the 75th anniversary team.
I believe you're right. I believe Jerry Kramer, I'll check that right now. Eric Young, one of our viewers, writes right now, he says, on one hand, I think talking about Terrell Owens, should have been there because at least he's alive to see that. But then again, he's right about the need for change because look how openly they kept Ken Stabler out. He's got a point there, about.
Well, but I would say, I mean, there's nothing, there's very few things in life that are absolute. So my point was, if you wanted to make those statements in Canton, Ohio, fine.
Yeah.
But you're inducted. If you're going to accept being inducted, and then you're going to have a little show in Chattanooga, that's a conflict.
Yeah, and speaking for myself, my first reaction was anger because I met Terrell at the night of one of his Oscars party, and I said, what do we have to do? This is on video. What do we have to do to get you in? In fact, I'll play it right now, because it's worth, in the context of what we're talking about, it's worth hearing. And the point of this is that, he wanted us to help him get his accolades, get into the Hall of Fame, start up, right? And so we help him, and then, right, and then he turns around and basically sticks it to us by not, anyway, all right. This is, trying to get that commercial out of the way. Hold on a second, folks. Hold on a second. Trying to get that commercial out of the way, which we will do.
I thought it was. Yeah.
And so
I thought it was totally disrespectful.
Yeah.
To not show up in Canton. To all the other players that they had their crosses to bear through the process.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't whine about it.
Nope.
If you want to fake change, you got to be there. You got to be there in person. If you're protesting something,
Great to meet you in person.
about Los Angeles, you can't be in San Francisco.
I am working on my clothing line, and it's called Prototype 81. So definitely stay tuned for that. You can find.
Oh, by the way, folks, this is Terrell Owens at the night of One Other Stars Oscars party. I interviewed him. This was February 28th, 2016. Let's continue.
A lot more information. You can go to my website, terrellowens.com, in the next couple of months or so. But you can definitely follow me on Instagram and Twitter. That's at Terrell Owens, and my Facebook page too as well. Everyone's really mastered with Twitter, I might add. Now, I mean, really, because you have millions of followers. I have to ask you, are you able to come back to the NFL as a free agent? I mean, are you?
Oh, but there was always a possibility. I don't think that they're going to let me back in. Again, that's just how it is. It's politics. It's not like I can't play. But other than that, we can't really do anything about it.
What can we as fans of TO do to straighten that? I'm deadly serious about that. How can we change that?
I mean, you guys have a voice. I think there are a lot of things that are created by movement, by the masses, and so I'm sure it's.
So let's put this together. You've been a great ambassador for the sport, and that your performance is almost second to none. You're the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, you've had no off-the-field problems. None. You've been a great entrepreneur and business person. What the heck is going on? We have to change that state of affairs. Okay.
I mean, people like yourself, and you get the right people behind you. I definitely think some things can change.
I got you. Hold on a second, right? Hey, Mike Silver. This is our next project right here. Right? I went to Cal with Mike. So yeah. So how would you assess Jameis Winston coming out, because there was a lot of criticism about him? But after this first year, what are your thoughts? And I ask because you caught passes from a lot of different people. You're basically an expert at judging quarterbacks. So I'm curious.
Well, I think he didn't do bad. I don't think he did as great as he probably expected. Again, playing that position is hard. I know a lot of people make it look effortless, but I think with this 1 year under his belt, and as you said, he's been able to assess and go back and look at the film and see how he could get better. Definitely, I think I've heard someone talk about him getting himself back and getting himself in better shape. So again, a number of things can attribute to the level of success of an individual. So definitely nutrition.
So there's that's TO though, AP, and I want you to hear that because again, the stage there was he was a guest of Peter Nybaum and Peter's son, and Peter they're biotech investors. And they are also sponsors of the Night at Wonder Stars Oscars party, at least were, because since the health problems of Norby Waters emerged, the party isn't going anymore, but that's beside the point for this conversation. But you heard it right there. Terrell said, hey, look, encourage me, right? Hey, get some people together. Talk it up. So we do. We do. And
yes, so he's in the Hall of Fame, and like I said, then he snubs the whole process, which he illustrated that he's not a good teammate.
You think he's just afraid of success? I mean, that's the pinnacle of success.
I think when you hear people they're talking more about their critics than the people who support them. I just find that not a positive way to live your life.
Mm-hmm. Eric Young says Paul Zimmerman openly admitted this, talking about the great Sports Illustrated writer, and then Eric Young goes on to type, while T.O. was a bit of a pain, what he did on the field is all that should matter. And A. Lava says, hey Zinny62, why does Tom Flores not get inducted to the Hall of Fame? That's a good question. How does it go when you lobby for somebody? I mean, is there a formal process, AP? Have you done it before? You did it with Stabler, right? How does that work?
I chose to write 3 stories, and my first attempt, I believe, was to contact all the. Go ahead. So Terry Bradshaw and Roger Staubach were the other 2 quarterbacks on the 1970s All-Decade team, along with Kenny. Mm-hmm. So I got their approval. They said Kenny should be in the Hall of Fame, and then I got some other quarterbacks during that time. I also spoke to the person who drafted Kenny, Ron Wolf, out of Oakland.
Oh, Ron Wolf, the great scout.
He was out there as a young executive with the Oakland Raiders, part of the organization, and spoke to him. I wrote another story, and I tried to get other players from that area, Franco Harris on record. And then the best advice I received was to try to contact the opponents. Their opinion carried the most weight with the voters. So I drove 700 miles round trip to Huntsville, Alabama. There was a John Stallworth golf tournament, and he had Donnie Shell, Mel Blount, Robin Cole, John Banaszak, Frank Lewis, and some other Pittsburgh Steelers, and I got most of them except the only one I didn't get with me was Frank Lewis. They all went on record and said Kenny should be in the Hall of Fame. Now that was a very contentious rivalry. That reached the court system actually for some other issues about roughness in the NFL. And so when that was written on June 30th, I know that Kenny read the story, and then he passed away 8 days later. And they took the both of that story and they put it on the front page of the Pittsburgh sports page, which I didn't know was going to happen.
Wow. And so when did it go from media buzz to formal entry?
Well, he passed away, that'd be July the 15th. I mean, no, July the 8th, actually. And then the next month, believe it or not, he passed the Veterans Committee.
Wow.
In August, so he missed it just to hear the announcement. Of course, you know, once you pass the Veterans Committee, then you are a candidate that will be decided upon on that Super Bowl Saturday when they start early in the morning. You bypass all the other steps because you're part of the Veterans Committee selection. The modern era process is like 4 steps. I think it's 25, 15, 10, and then the final discussion on that Super Bowl Saturday.
And the Veterans Committee is what, for my viewers who may not know?
Oh, the Veterans Committee is just I think there's 9 of the 48 are part of that process. I think 5 through the actual discussion, I think, and then they vote in August there. I think they get together actually when they have the induction. You know, it's the perfect time, right? Because some of the members are back for the. I think that's what they normally do. I'm not positive, but I know it's in August.
Wow. So that's something else. So basically, it comes down to what? One of the guys bringing up your name in the meeting? Or how does it? Is that how it works?
Yeah, they have to bring you up in the meeting, the veterans meeting. And like I said, they have to still get the 80% of the 48 voters when they meet on Super Bowl Saturday. Just like all the modern players.
And then once you get those votes, you're golden. You're in. So there it is.
You're in. They make that announcement on Saturday evening. They sure do.
Who do you feel like is deserving of a Hall of Fame jacket that is waiting a little too long?
Geez, and I'd have to really think about that.
I mean, for me, it's Cliff Branch with the Raiders. You know.
Yeah. And here's something just to give you some background information. If there's X amount of players from a particular team, let's say it's 10 or 11 players, and you start to think, well, we have enough Raiders in the Hall of Fame at the moment. We have to turn our attention to someone else because they're trying to get good teammates in the Pro Football Hall of Fame as well.
Oh, so basically, if you have like a Buccaneer or somebody that maybe should be in there, I mean, well, I think Leroy Selman is a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
And but he's the only person I can think of who's with the Bucs. And the only other person I might be able to think of, Mike Allstott. I don't know that Mike.
Okay, sure. Fullback from Purdue.
From Purdue,
right?
Yeah, from Purdue. Yeah, from Purdue.
Is he from Purdue?
Yeah, Mike Allstott's from Purdue. Definitely from Purdue. Hey, so let's shift gears. We talked about that. By the way, we're on with AP Steadham. He is arguably the most exposed reporter covering Alabama football there is. You were on, 16 radio stations in Alabama? Is that right? You're syndicated.
Yeah, Zenny, this fall I'm going to be on 23 outlets across the state of Alabama, around Pensacola, Florida, Jackson, Mississippi. So I'm in 3 states. I'm still trying to rack up 1 or 2 stations in Georgia, so I wanted to be in 4 states.
Hey, we got to get you on in a more formal fashion on Zenny 62. I gotta make a seat for you, so then we can pour money into that seat when I get money. So we'll figure it out. But
hey, that'd be great.
Hey, talk to me about Alabama football. You were at the SEC Media Days out here a few weeks ago, actually a month ago now. Time flies. What are your impressions going in regarding Alabama? And then, of course, in the question, will Georgia be back there to take on Alabama again?
Yeah, Alabama football right now, then is in a state of flux at the quarterback position. They're trying to make a decision if Jalen Hurts, the 2-year starter, will take the helm again, or Tua Tagovailoa, who provided the second half heroics to win the national championship, will displace Jalen. So that's a big competition that's ongoing at the moment. Alabama starts school August 22nd. I believe there'll be a discussion with Jalen Hurts and Nick Saban, or Jalen Hurts and his family, to decide what is his plan for Jalen Hurts in his third year. This is a person who started 28, 29 games, won 26. They went to the championship game both years. They fell short, even though Jalen scored in the last 2 minutes to put Alabama ahead. The number one defense in the country could not hold out Clemson and Deshaun Watson. And in the second year, they reached the championship. It was halftime. Alabama was losing 13-0. Jalen had 21 yards of passing, and something needed to be done. And I'd say this to everybody who listens, that Nick Saban had one move and one move only. That was to track Tua Tagovailoa, who was very successful during the season, and when he would enter the game without Alabama have a big lead. They never put him in the game with a crucial moment, so that was quite a bit of pressure to put on the young man from Hawaii. But he performed brilliantly, and now he's part of the Alabama football.
Hey, you know Alabama football. What happened behind the scenes that led to Saban putting him out there? That was a genius move, because prior to that, I'm sorry, Georgia had them. I mean, arguably Georgia should have buried them. Georgia had them, but they didn't bury them, you know?
Yeah, Alabama was struggling. You have $1 million coordinator, high-priced coach, and you have 21 yards of passing at halftime. So a team that surrendered so much yardage in the Rose Bowl against Oklahoma with Baker Mayfield.
And yet, was it Saban's idea to just all of a sudden, just in a panic, say, I'm going to stick in the kid? Or what happened? Did somebody suggest that to him? What was it?
No, I think the coordinator from last year, Brian Dable, he probably had something to do with the decision, but because when Alabama played in the Sugar Bowl against Clemson, Jalen Hurts had the flu. So Tua took all the first team snaps, and he was on fire, I was told. He was so accurate, and all the receivers were thrilled because they were getting the football. Sometimes, Jalen has a tendency to hold the ball, and he doesn't see all the receivers. So, I was on radio last year with four games left. I said they should have a secret weapon with Tua coming in every second quarter for at least 2 series, and let the other, put the pressure on the other team. Let them have to rearrange their defense and try to see if they can, stop him from throwing the ball down the field. Because Alabama has excellent receivers. Calvin Ridley went, number 1 to the Atlanta Falcons, and they had 3 freshmen that were sensational. There's Devontae Smith caught the 41-yard touchdown pass to defeat Georgia in the national championship game.
Hey, so Alabama loses Calvin Ridley to the Atlanta Falcons, a heck of a team to go to. Who steps in to take his role as the big man on campus among wide receivers?
Yeah, you have 3 freshmen that were very good last year. Devontae Smith, Henry Ruggs III, and Jerry Jeudy from South Florida. Henry Ruggs III is from Montgomery, Alabama, and Devontae Smith is from Louisiana. But any one of them, it's just going to depend now, Zenny, on who receives the most double teams. The other person will have quite an opportunity.
And do you see the Crimson Tide playing more of a read option or more spread passing? How do you see the offense changing? I know it's, we have concluded spring practice, so we have some idea how the offense is going to look. But how do you see that offense? How is that going to look from a schematic point of view when the Crimson Tide takes the field in a few weeks?
Yeah, I think Alabama and Nick Saban, they plan to be a downhill team. They have 2 exceptional running backs, Damian Harris from Kentucky, who's had back-to-back 1,000-yard season. He's going for his 3rd. And then also you have from your neck of the woods in the Bay Area, Najee Harris, Antioch High School.
Ah,
He was the number one player regardless of position when he
yeah.
came out. He was a freshman last year, so he's about 6'3", 230, and can catch the football. Good cutter, and he has fairly good speed. So in the second half, they put him in the game. He had 64 yards rushing, and they actually had, if you can believe this, 6 freshmen were in the game starting on offense in the second half.
That's unbelievable. 6?
6 freshmen. They had to replace the left tackle, Jonah Williams, who's also played in your neck of the woods around Sacramento. Folsom, actually. I think it's Folsom, California.
So you mean to tell me that
he was injured, and then they had to put a freshman tackle in, Alex Leatherwood, who's his high school coach was former Heisman Trophy winner from Florida State University, Charlie Ward.
You mean to tell me that Cal's letting all this good talent get out of Northern California? Is that what I'm hearing from you? Am I hearing from you that my University of California is?
I don't know if they're letting them, but they better build a better fence.
It sounds like we need more than a fence. It sounds like we need a dam. That's what it sounds like. I mean, from what you're saying.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I mean, they have the 3 freshman wide receivers, Tua Tagovailoa, the freshman, Najee Harris, freshman, and Alex Leatherwood, the left tackle. All freshmen were started in this. We're playing in the second half, significant minutes together.
Hey, so
at the same time.
I know you got to go because you got a busy schedule. But one question for my viewers: what is it like to attend? I know you've done it for a number of times. You're used to it, but for those of us, including sad sacks like me, who've never been to an Alabama Crimson Tide football game, and I'd love to change that. What's it like?
Well, the stadium now is 101,000 fans, and I always tell you, but if you walk in with a Crimson jersey, you probably just inherited 100,000 new friends. And there's thousands outside.
Are you telling me that if I go there, are you telling me that if I go there, I'll meet my next girlfriend and wife? Is that what you're telling me?
I don't know. It just depends how enthusiastic you are, and make sure you wear that Crimson jersey.
Oh boy.
I'll make that suggestion to you.
Okay. I'll have to make sure it's Alabama Crimson, not Stanford Crimson. I'll get killed. I'm an old blue.
Right. I hear you.
If my life depends on it, I can act. How's that?
Yeah, right. Oh, I hear you. But it's a really exceptional experience. I haven't been everywhere, but logistically, there's a nice quad where people have their tents and the big 40, 50-inch TVs watching the game. The food is catered right on the quad. And then diagonally is the stadium. So you just walk over there, and then you can walk downtown as well. So everything is 1, 2, 3 right in a row. And I just think it's an outstanding place in a college environment, college football environment. And, 101,000 fans wearing those Crimson jerseys, and you got a few of the away team, they get their share of tickets as well. But for those who like college football, I suggest coming to Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
And the first game for Alabama is?
At Orlando, Florida, neutral site versus the Louisville Cardinals.
Ooh, without Lamar Jackson. How do you think that's going to come out?
Well, Alabama's favored now by about 20-something points, but
it's a slaughter.
Like I tell people, they have advantage. They can create some havoc if they maybe get the ball deep and there's a misstep with the communication. And Alabama's young secondary, though they're young, they're very talented, but it's going to take a while to gel as a unit.
Well, AP, I know I want to thank you for stopping by and come on back. Much appreciated.
Oh, glad to.
Definitely.
Yeah, hey, Sandy, thank you to you and your audience, and wish everybody well. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
You got it, and I'll hit you up tomorrow, talk about that other stuff.
Okay. Welcome.
All right, man. I'll see you.
Okay, Danny, thank you.
You got it, man. Right there. So, folks, that was AP Steadham. He's a longtime friend. He's been on the show a bunch of times before. And talking, first of all, NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame visit that he did, and then talking about his thoughts and mine about Terrell Owens and Owens missing the Pro Football Hall of Fame ceremony. Very sad. And finally, Alabama football and what's happening with Alabama football. Going to be back tomorrow. Going to line up more special guests. And I'm going to sign off early on this one so I can do a write-up about this, because this is going to appear on the blog. And we are really are going to have a great week tomorrow. And I want to thank everybody for stopping by. A lot's going on. And I'll round up all the Raiders Las Vegas news. Yes, there's more tomorrow. All right. So, see you all. Thank you all for stopping by. Thanks a lot. Okay, see ya.